it's a common situation in technology, because at the beginning of every market, at the beginning of every revolution, you have hundreds or thousands of different technical solutions. But after some years, in the past, after dozens of years, recently, after some years, in the mobility sectors, after a few years, you have a concentration, and at the end, you will have very few technological platforms remaining, 2, 3, 4, not more. And in the mobility field, the trend towards a convergence with, towards a smaller number of solutions is already started. So, how to bridge the current gap in the global market? And to do that, we started from an elementary concept that has been expressed very, very well by Volkswagen. This is a press release title of Volkswagen about 2 years ago that say that automobile will evolve into a central hub in the Internet of Things. This is a really violent concept because of, for example, this concept means, by a software point of view, that no more captive solutions. Because if you want to be, if you have to be a central hub in the Internet of Things, you cannot use captive solution. It means you cannot use a Volkswagen platform or a Toyota platform or a BMW platform, for example. And we translated this concept that mobility platform is the hub of IoT in the smart city. Why that? Probably all of you know that, but in the smart city you have a lot of different services that supply users' needs. And all these services are given through technological platforms. And technological platforms must be connected together. But not all the technological platforms are equal. The mobility platform is different from all the others. Why that? Because the technological intensity in a mobility platform is really higher than all the other platforms. You have to think, for example, only to the technology that is inside a single autonomous vehicle. You have a really high level of technology. And so the mobility platform, by a technological point of view, is at a higher level with respect to all the other platforms, and so all the other platforms communicate together through the mobility platform. That becomes the hub. So the mobility platform in the center, all around the mobility platform, there are all the mobility services. Connected vehicles, autonomous vehicles, mobility as a service. But here is a little petal, the smart city services, but really is a really big petal. For example, yesterday in the owner presentation, we have all the energy field. So in the smart city services, there are the energy services, insurance services, health services, finance services, and so on. So we have developed a platform with that architecture, with the architecture to be the hub of the smart city. And we have developed this platform in a completely open source way, because if at the end will remain on the market 2, 3 or 4 platforms, this platform must be open source, because only open source makes possible to connect with all the other platforms in an easy and quick way. The name is Movens, and it is a platform that is completely focused on the services to the citizens, to the people. And is a platform designed to deliver all the services for smart governance, smart healthcare, and so on. Obviously, starting from mobility and mobility services. With this platform called Movens, and we have developed it starting from 2018, the main features are it is open source. Obviously, we use cutting-edge technologies, and it is completely designed for integration with other systems, and most important, to be the hub, you must use all the standards. And in the mobility field, who is building the standards of the future mobility? Starting from 2018, there is a consortium of about all the car manufacturers, about all the insurances in the world, now are entering also the energy companies, that is called MOBI, Mobility Open Blockchain Initiative. That started from Toyota. The CEO of MOBI, Chris Ballinger, was the CFO of Toyota till 2018. And MOBI released and studied the standards. And for example, 1 year ago, MOBI released the first standard for all the car manufacturers, the VID, vehicle identity. That is the standard for a unique identification of the vehicle and of all the documentation connected, related to the vehicle, with a strong effect, for example, in the insurance market. And in our platform, we adopt this standard for the vehicle identity. And around 1 month ago, we had the first draft release of the vehicle-to-grid standard. Now we have 6 months of discussion inside MOBI, and then it will be released to the public. There is the standard for the vehicle-to-grid, the vehicle-to-building, and the vehicle-to-home, and so on. Henshin is part of MOBI. We have built a complete customization of Movens on the sharing mobility. That is called Movens Sharing. It is a turnkey solution, a full turnkey solution. And this is the evolutive timeline of Movens. For example, here you see sharing mobility, Movens Sharing, released. And obviously we have all the source code available on our website, and we have released also more than 300 API for communication. They are fully documented. Maybe in spring we will arrive to 1,000 of APIs released. They are available on our website, free, completely free. And here you see, for example, that we have the vehicle-to-grid release, that our forecast is in the next spring, because of we are waiting for the final release of the standard, of the MOBI standard for the vehicle-to-grid. Only to show you, this is the vehicle sharing management, some of the features. Obviously, the platform manages different kinds of sharing. In some cases, we have also the white labels for the user experience. In all cases, we have the libraries developed in native language, iOS and Android, to develop the smartphone applications. Now I will show you some examples of that. This is what we have done. Now we will see, I will show you some experience on the road. Some real cases of application of our technology. And I will show you some cases that are pivoting on specific features of our open source solution. The first example is pivoting on the concept that we have in our platform, that we are absolutely agnostic on the electronic that is on the device, or be seen in some onboard computer, and we are completely agnostic. So if we have a connected vehicle, we communicate with the connected vehicle. If we do not have a connected vehicle, we can install a specific box, many kinds of box, depending on the specific service that the vehicle has to do. And in this case, we have a solution with a Lotus Evora. In that case, Lotus Evora is not a connected car, while new Lotus vehicles are connected. And so we transform not connected vehicles in connected vehicles, using this specific feature of the platform, with different boxes installed inside the vehicles. This is the user smartphone application developed for Lotus. What is important in that? That using our APIs, this smartphone application has been developed in around 10 days in native language. It means that the time to market and the costs to do that are very, very low. This is another example on the road that is pivoting on the concept of community. Our platform manages, obviously, groups of people, subgroups of people, subgroups. You can do everything you want. But we have also the concept of community. And you can have community, subcommunity, subcommunity. That is a completely different clustering of the users. You can cluster your user in two different ways, or both of them, groups and communities. For example, if you are a worldwide sharing operator, you can have each country is a different community and each city is a sub-community, because you can define rules of the services for every community. Rules of the services, I mean rules of the services, but also marketing rules and economic rules, pricing and so on. Or if you are a big company and you use the system, for example, for corporate sharing, you can have a community for every company that is in your holding. And GaiaGo, that is a technological company of an insurance company, has developed in the car manufacturer world a product that is called GaiaGo for Dealer. You know that car manufacturers has the problem in the COVID-19 situation that no people buy the cars. So they have all the dealers with a lot of vehicles parked and not used. So every dealer becomes a community, and with the customization they have made on our platform, and they transform a dealer in a local mobility hub with rental services, sharing services, integrated mobility system with local transportation depending on the dimensions of the dealer and on the localization of the dealer. And another example that is pivoting on another features of our platform, that is transportation request and movement authority. The philosophy, the architecture of the platform is that a user in some way, usually through an app, in some way asks to go from point A to point B. This is a transportation request. In the system, there are the movement authorities. Movement authorities, I mean, for example, a private sharing company, a public transport, trains, the train company, the underground company, and so on. There are different movement authorities that receive this request and propose a solution. Then the system put all the solution together and make a unique proposal of trip to the user. Pivoting on this feature, we have a public transportation company of coaches. It is a regional company, and in COVID situation, you know that in some areas there is by law a reduction of people admitted on coaches, of a reduction of 20%, 50%, 40%, depending on the specific area. And this is a big problem, specifically in peak time that are around school transportation. Because when you have school transportation, you have a lot of guys going to the coaches. So to manage that, they are using our platform, and they know in advance how many students are going to take the coach and at what coach stop they are. So, for example, if the limit is 80 people on the coach, they know that at the first stop they have 40 students, at the second stop they have 20 students, at the third stop they have 30 students, so they know that at the third stop they have to have a new coach. So they know the exact number of students, and so they are able to add new coaches for the specific route they need. And to avoid people gathering, you can also say to the students, you have to go to coach A, you have to go to coach B, you have to go to coach C, and you have to enter from front door, you have to enter through back door, in order to have the lower gathering possible. These are only some examples of the usage of our technology in the field.
A little bit more open from your customer side to address topics in the smart charging, sharing, and so on economy. Do you see there lots of improvements into, well, we have to do it right now because otherwise we got lost, especially the topic you mentioned here on the last slides with transportation and so on? So,
generally speaking, COVID situation pushed a lot through the adoption of technological platforms. So, by this point of view, we had a strong acceleration on our market. Our market targets are 3 now: car manufacturers, insurances, and big rental and leasing companies. And to give you some numbers, we developed the platform between 2018 and 2019, And we estimated in 2020 to have one car manufacturer as a customer, for example. Probably we will end the year with 5 car manufacturers as a customer. So there is a big push towards technological platforms. And on the other side, we have the problem, and on the market has the problem that no one is moving. So, yes, our business model is strictly connected by the concept is a monthly fee for vehicle on the road. So they have no vehicles on the road. But in the medium and long term, I think that, what can I say, COVID solutions will be adopted also when COVID will end.
That's impressive to see and to hear. When I started my first smart city project almost more than 10 years ago, not in Germany and not in Europe, I started in Dubai because this was the melting pot for digitalization, first generation, as well as making some cities and activities smarter. And so it was, even in this time, it was very complicated to combine all the players already there. So the Siemens guys from the lighting systems, so Swarco, then you had some big platform players like IBM already in charge of. Well, we have a taxi fleet in Dubai with 2,500 cars. We have to handle it, we want to know, we want to get the data in real time, condition monitoring, track and trace, predictive maintenance. Are these 3 cases for you the most challenging thing?
Yes, currently we are challenging with Bosch.
Yeah,
and because we have an energy company that is starting with a special sharing service in November with electric vehicles, with all the electronic managed by Bosch, and it is a strong challenge, but we have to win this challenge till November because they start on the 1st of November on the road. Yes, I know the problem. With Siemens, it is a very long struggle from about 1 year, and we are struggling.
So I know, especially on these silos we built at this time 10 years ago, it's growing, and now they have to do the proof on this, or they have to combine all the activities, and that makes it really complex because we have different protocols. Well,
yes.
Not everything is IoT, and not everything is MQTT and whatever kind of existing languages you have to speak to bring, let's say, sources to a platform. And that's interesting to see how you try to handle this cross industry as well. So
yes, we use very much Mobi because we are maybe the only platform that uses the Mobi standards, and so we go directly to our customers through Mobi. And yes, we use all the technologies we use are open source and are transparent for the car. For example, we use Kubernetes. We are layered to be independent from the databases. So we use, for example, MongoDB or Cassandra. For example, FCA uses Cassandra. Other companies uses MongoDB. So we are independent. We use also MQTT if needed. Many times we use Kafka. Toyota, for example, uses Kafka, and